It was a good ride while it lasted, boys. But Blizzard is starting to slowly off Diablo 4 with their decision making.
Look, I normally try to strike a balance, and normally I try not to. I've done a lot of complaining in the past about games.
Understandable.
And I try to go in, I look at stuff, I think, okay, what's the positives out of this? And I try to keep, the excitement and whatnot going for the people.
Say what you will, but he truly is one of the only guys who tries to find more positives than negatives.
That are excited, etc. But like my shirt says, not today. Okay? So if you don't want to see negativity, I would click off of this video now. Because this video is going to be my unedited thoughts on the patch after having tested it.
Good.
Having talked to a bunch of people. And honestly, after the live stream yesterday, I played the patch. I was like, I need a beer and burger. So I went to a bar, I had a beer, and I ate a burger. And I went home and went to bed and didn't think about it because I didn't want to. Then I came alive again this morning, and I thought, yep, still hate it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to address...
If you haven't read the patch spoiler alert, Blizzard literally is doing almost nothing good.
The first things, which is that there is hidden nerfs in the patch as well. There are things within the patch that are very bugged and very nerfed. I will give you one such example right now. I have 2 more skill points than normal. You know why? Because this move right here, Imperfectly Balanced, is now bugged, and it is a 1 out of 3. I have no idea why.
Nice.
It just no longer accepts 3 skill points. That has been already confirmed as a bug. Cinders seem to be dropping way less. This is also confirmed as a bug. You know what that was dropped? The tier in which Nightmare Dungeon I can clear. And that one's not a bug because my character, when I logged in today, not only did less damage, but took way more damage. The problem with this...
That's how I felt on my Necromancer after logging in one time, and I was like, right, it's time to make a new character. I can't. My summons, I worked pretty hard to make them tanky, and they were tanky. They died rarely, right? Well, I was not a summoner build, by the way. And I log in, and what happens? They're all dead in a matter of seconds. And guess what happens? I'm getting one-shotted. I mean, just throw a new class.
Game already was not that I'm surviving too much. I don't know where that came into the equation and why you probably saw me be basically shocked when I was going through the patch notes. I was trying to be like, okay, well, maybe there's something I don't get. Because I'll be honest, a lot of times I don't understand the patch notes as much as other people. I'm not a pro at this game. I try.
No, that's completely understandable. A lot of the things in the patch notes are just sometimes really hard to understand when Blizzard does stuff like this. In a metaphorical and a very literal sense. You're not alone.
To give basic tips and entertain the audience. I know that. I'm trying. Okay? So when I read these patch notes, like the Barbarian nerf and the Rogue nerf, sometimes I miss things. But I can't miss it when it stares me in the face when I log into the game and bluntly see, oh, I just die now.
Yep.
And what I don't understand is that this isn't a game where it's like I go 100% HP, 80% HP, 70%, 60%. Oh, I better heal 50%, 40%. Oh no, I made 3 or 4 mistakes in a row. When you die, you make one mistake. You either stood in a cheesy CC circle, and it was a skill issue of not dodging the CC, or a guy goes, and then like runs through you and one-shots you out of nowhere. At no point...
Yep. In Diablo 4, if you're doing anything past level 50, it's pretty much always going to be one of 2 situations. Nothing hurts you, or you get one shot, and sometimes you don't even get one shot by an ability or anything. Sometimes it's literally charging. Or the guys who do the water thing, yeah, stand close and it's literally gonna one-shot you no matter what. It is insanity.
Point in any of the times when I died before the nerf, did I think, oh wow, that damage was slow, methodical, and I could have avoided. It was always instant, and I'm always dying right now because of either one really cheesy thing.
The guys who jump at you from a long distance with the frozen enchantment, one shot almost, by the way, all characters most of the time, unless you have a shield and have specced into defense a lot.
Or of a skill issue. So when I started playing this patch and started getting nuked even quicker, I just thought all it did was take what felt like the damage problem, which is either I'm live or dead. There's like no middle ground, and then just extended that.
Yep.
So I really kind of don't get that, and I especially feel bad for literally anyone that wants to play hardcore. We were going to do a hardcore challenge for the season 1, and like all of my friends have bailed on even wanting to play hardcore already.
Obviously, smart.
Now, I can understand the argument that I think people are making, and I myself was...
This is why, by the way, I have never said this, but I typically don't read Blizzard patch notes. Because they're gonna screw it up. I'm not gonna lie. I am of a fundamentally unmovable opinion for the last, 10 years that Blizzard is fundamentally incapable of balancing anything. And you see, slowly everyone's just also getting to this point where they're like, yes, what's the point of reading patch notes? If I'm playing hardcore, I just better not log in ever again into my character because maybe Blizzard did something and I'm just gonna get deleted in the town because of a bug. Or, because of intended nerf that still deletes me in the town somehow.
Trying to understand with my copium of like, okay, where's the good in this? Which is maybe it's like a veggie shake, okay? Which is, right now it feels bad, but it's good for you and the longevity of it. And then the longer I thought about that logic, I actually don't care if it is good for the longevity of it. Because what it's not good is for the immediate-longevity of it, if that's actually a term. People are going to hate this. When you log in, your character feels worse.
Yep.
The people that min-max their gear just got a factual downgrade.
Yep.
No one feels stronger after that.
I have talked about this previously. This is how Blizzard literally loses not Diablo, but World of Warcraft players, and I was afraid that they're going to do this to Diablo 4. In World of Warcraft, but if you did not know, this is an extremely huge, prevalent, popular problem. Someone finds something good, it doesn't get fixed instantly, word spreads around, and people start grinding to get this good thing so they can be the top of the damage meter, so they have a cool build or whatever, or so they feel stronger and feels better, right? They do it. 2 weeks past, everyone is finished farming. Now it's finally time to, enjoy yourself. Revel in what you have done and claim and reap the rewards. And what does Blizzard do? It nerfs it into the ground. Blizzard doesn't just nerf OP things. They literally stomp it into the ground so hard, it's unviable. And this has been happening in World of Warcraft for multiple expansions at this point. And I think it's going to happen with Diablo to a certain degree.
The patch. We all feel weaker. And the one I really don't understand is why we nerfed experience in a game that's designed, it looks like I've always said this game is designed for casuals, and I've also, and me and everybody else that looks around says casuals aren't going to hit level 100, so why are we nerfing experience for casuals?
Yep.
And then why is the experience that is now it's way harder to get less experience? They up the risk, but didn't up the reward in the same quantity. So that part has been frustrating for me the longer I've thought about it as well. There's stuff I absolutely like in the patch. I like that they're adding new unique items. But when I realized this one is an uber rare, I didn't realize this when I was reading the patch. I realized it the day after. I no longer even care that it's in the game.
Yep.
Because it's an uber rare.
Yep.
So 1 out of 30 billion people on the planet are going to get it. And here's the other funny part. They made this uber unique a staff. So only some classes are even going to be able to use the damn thing.
Yep.
So the community has been very boiled up, so much to the point that they're kind of doing a campfire chat on Friday to discuss this, which I
hope they're going to throw someone into the fire.
I can just already see the Twitch chat and how this is going to go. It doesn't matter where you go. You can go to any YouTube video. You can go to any Reddit post. You can go to...
Oh, and he's not touching on the other things that they added. All of those items are stupid, boring, dull, and no one cares about them. Yeah. Nice stuff, Blizz. Well done. I'm truly proud.
The Twitter post. I don't see anyone who likes these changes. Everything from avid fans to people that, don't even like the game. I actually talked to the Act Man on the live stream, and asked him, did you think that these would be the type of changes you'd like? He's like, yeah, maybe make it more difficulty. But, it's like even someone who played the game a little bit and didn't like it, they're not going to come back to these games because of these changes, is my point here.
To be fair, people who did that are not gonna come back to the game because they don't actually read patch notes. The game for them is always gonna be the same game until they play the game again after years and they say, "Oh, something's changed."
Oh, the reason people are so mad right now is everyone basically just took all the time to build their character and then logged in on the day they expected to be hyped up for this season.
Classic Blizz.
And when they came back to the game after probably like a week or two break, they just see that their character is worse, and they can do less of the content that's in the game than they...
Oh, and by the way, I'll just add this, because there are some people who are like, oh, Blizzard's trying their best, they're trying to make the game interesting. Bruh, I can literally, probably off the top of my head, give you, 50 unique items with good effects that would make the game more interesting. For example... if a druid uses, for example, a basic werewolf skill or something, it has, a 20% chance to proc, I don't know, AoE werewolf shred thing that deals damage, applies bleed, or does something like that. And that would be pretty cool, because that would insinuate, for example, things like on-hit druid or whatever. And and there's so many interesting items. There's so many interesting ideas that they could add. But no, we're getting literally buffs to things that are like, well, rogues are gonna get now 3 to 7% dodge ratio. Yeah, no one cares.
They can already do. They literally can do less content now than they could before, right before the season. So they took a pin and deflated the balloon right as the season hype is about to start, baby. And this is supposed to be the moment where people come back and oh, here we go. So I don't really get the logic of...
I will, though, say one thing about the situation that is pro-Blizzard. I do see a silver lining. I do see one positive thing that we can say. These changes do make technical sense, statistically, because the reality is, when Season 1 hits... the new gems that you are supposed to socket in the ring slot, the other ring slot, and the next slot are probably 100,000% more powerful than anything you could do previously. It's gonna be literally 100,000% more survivability options through that, which will make you more survivable and give you more damage. So that's kind of a thing. But that's something you probably should have honestly done when Season 1 actually hit, not one day previously, to ruin it for everyone. So yeah, that's a small thing to probably take into account. And tomorrow, I'm playing Source.
The previous campfire of we're going to have you have broken, overpowered fun builds, but then you nerf everything right before it. By we're talking big nerf numbers. These aren't small numbers. You look at these nerfs. This is a 50 to 25%. So that is a 50% nerf on core stats of intelligence. Yep. Cooldown by 30%. Critical strike damage, 17%. Lightning, 17%. Vulnerable damage, 40%. Okay. As much as vulnerable damage on crossbows.
Vulnerable damage is completely overpowered. So, yeah, it makes sense. Because vulnerable damage, if you did not know, is not plus. It's times multiplier. So that's a big deal.
65%. Inherit on swords crit with strike damage by 50%. This nerfs everything. And then the stuff they increase is by 25%. And this has to do with just raw stats of physical damage with two-handed, etc.
I like this pod, by the way, because they are actually addressing one of the problems that I said. I don't I personally have hated since Diablo 3 how they have made stats work. AK, you always want crit chance, you always want attack speed, you always want crit damage. And buffing base damage and reducing crit chance, crit this, crit that, makes it so that some people can actually go for I'm gonna crit 60% of the time and it's gonna be a big deal. While other people can easily choose to go for I have a 5% crit damage chance, and you know what? I'm still as powerful as that guy who has 60 because it's a give and take kind of thing where crit damage, attack speed, and crit multiplier do not outshine everything like it did in Diablo 3. I'm actually a super, super huge fan of this.
Conjuration damage. They increased some stats to compensate, but the ones they decreased are multiple of the modifiers that multiply off each other. Like vulnerable, critical strike, and core. These are all like, core stats. That is not core damage. These are all like individual multipliers, and that's where you get your big numbers from. So everyone lost a lot of damage because of this. But what's more frustrating isn't even the damage. I mean, you could probably get past losing some damage, but it's the items.
The damage doesn't matter if they're being completely real, by the way. Because most of the time you're literally one-shotting everything, okay?
Like, people just went and farmed hell tides forever to get perfect stat items.
Yep.
And then they log into the game and their items are just way worse. Like, you can actually see this on my sword here. Like, I went and I max row the vulnerable one, and this was like 70.5% or something like that. And I log in, it's 42% today. I'm just like, holy...
Yep, that's what the nerf is, partially.
Holy moly, that feels weird. I was actually okay with the Bone Spear build nerfs. Like, I know Evosion is pretty good. That's why I got ranks of it in my amulet. Obviously, the Splendorian's good.
The also okay.
I mean, look at my roll now. It's 129%. So I get nerfing the class skills, but they doubled down and they nerfed everything else. So everyone just kind of feels bad about this patch. And honestly, I feel bad about this patch. So I'm put it this way, boys. When DM comes up here and has nothing like really positive, like I don't have a lot.
Imagine a day when he didn't have anything positive, but I did.
Positive to say. And it's pretty rare because I try to keep pretty positive and be pretty happy about things.
Don't be sad. These are most likely potentially good late, changes for the future of the game. Again, it's like, do you really want to only care about items, for example, gloves that have crit rate on them and nothing else honestly matters? No, that just games the game bad. Do you honestly want only crit ratio to be the only build that you can go on literally every character? Or do you want a choice? Maybe I go for damage over time, maybe I go for this or that or that. Everyone who has played Path of Exile and are saying, by the way, oh, Path of Exile is a better game. This is becoming closer to Path of Exile, by the way. This is a move towards Path of Exile style of gameplay. So, anyone who thinks Path of Exile is better or wants the game to be more like Path of Exile, this is literally one of the first steps, and I think it's a good one. Now, how they handled everything else except these two things that DM talked about, abysmal, and I hate it. But these changes, I actually like them.
Thanks. But I kind of don't get this one. I really especially don't get the timing of it. There's only one argument I can understand.
The timing is
which
stupid.
is that they reduced all of the damage reduction, all of the total armor, and all that now to get a baseline because everyone's going to start new characters in the season, and they want to see how weak people are so that by season 2, when they adjust resistances, they will be able to have better data to accumulate resistances within defensive properties. That's the only logic I can make out of this from like a development standpoint. Maybe they're trying to get the data. But here's my counter. I don't care if they're trying to get the data from it. I want to have fun with the game now. I just don't care. It's not my problem to develop the game. It's not my problem to figure out the balance of the game. It's my problem to play the game and have fucking fun because I pay for the game. So I don't see a way in which I would even care, even if that is the logic behind it. So I don't have a lot of positive things to say. I'm sorry it's a negative video. I tend not to be overwhelmingly negative. But I mean, I was live streaming and it's just overwhelming how many people hate this. And honestly, after playing it, like I played it for like 4 hours, tested out stuff. Yes, you can absolutely still blast through Nightmare Dungeons if you have, great gear and stuff. Yes, you can still kill Uber Lilith. I'm sure I can still kill Uber Lilith even with my nerfed build. Okay. But the game feels slower and worse for having had these changes. And I'm just a little bit bummed out about it today. That's the honest truth.
It's going to get better.
I want to make one last point at the end here. You know why the rogue feels so good to play compared to the other classes?
Because it's fast and deals a lot of damage, and actually clicking buttons is, with rogue you constantly click buttons.
Because it's fast and the mechanics are fast. You're daggering and then jumping across somewhere else, and then all the daggers go through. And you're just speeding through everything. Everyone likes that, right?
Yeah.
So when you slow the entire game down,
It feels bad, true.
everyone's not going to like it. That's the point. Faster feels better in an action RPG. There's more action when the game is fast. When it's slow, there's less action. And when there's less loot...
I get his point, but I fully don't agree with it because, you know, there should be a cap to it. But in Diablo, it's just not balanced because the rogues, the only... Well, rogues and barbarians, technically. Rogues and barbarians are the only ones who actually have a good rate of clearing and doing stuff. Well, anyway, that was our boy right there. And this was Kuzer Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.